right, we both know why you're here. How to become a digital nomad. So if you're watching this video, I know you're interested. You've probably watched a bunch of other videos already. So I'm just going to go straight to the point. No bullshit, no videos of me running on the beach or whatever, just the money side. And let's just get into it. So as you can see, I'm in Japan. I'm in a co-working space right now. I've got a couple minutes between meetings. And so, yeah, just recording this video to answer all those questions that people ask me every day. How do you have so much flexibility? How do you manage to work from all these different places in the world and live in all these beautiful places, etc., etc. And so I'm just going to keep it super short, just go straight to the point. So intro done. Now pros and cons, why and how I became a digital nomad, how to make money online preferably, and then reducing your expenses. Those are the only things I really want to talk about and the main things, right? So express 101, how to become a digital nomad. So there's a lot of pros and cons. Actually, pros, definitely you can live anywhere you want, you can travel, you get to see all these beautiful places, life is good, right? You get the flexibility. I think the flexibility is the main pro you can get. Cons, you're gonna miss your family, you're gonna miss your friends, you're gonna miss a lot of important dates, you're gonna miss birthdays, you're gonna miss weddings, you're gonna miss the food that you grew up with, and a lot of different things as well. Also, another con that people never refer to, being a digital nomad is actually quite a lot of work. It takes quite a lot of preparation. So it's a lot of work and planning and preparation, and things can go very, very wrong just as well as they can go very, very right. So those are just a couple things to be careful of. Another thing on the financial side of pros and cons is that depending on where you want to go and where you're going to go, you can save potentially quite a lot of money depending on how you set up your finances, and you can also waste or lose quite a lot of money as well. Canceling reservations, ticket flights, whatever, all these different things, right? So there's a lot of that as well. For me personally, why and how I became a digital nomad. So why the flexibility, to be honest. And so right now I'm in Japan, which is more on the expensive side, but yeah, there's the flexibility of being able to live wherever I want. And so this doesn't necessarily mean just traveling all the time. Clearly, I love traveling, but sometimes I'm from Switzerland, but I was living in Berlin, in Germany for over 4 years. And so now I would call Berlin home at this point. And so it's more that like, if I want to go back home and living in not Switzerland because it's fucking expensive, but if I want to live anywhere else in Europe, like I can just come back and stay there for 6 months, for a year, however long I want. And if I want to go and travel to Thailand, Mexico, whatever, I can do that as well. So for me, traveling is definitely a big part of it, but it's more so even about the flexibility actually. And how I became a digital nomad, it's pretty straightforward. So I'm the co-founder and CEO of Busy. We're a tech startup, and so we're technically based in Berlin, but we have a fully remote team. So everybody's fully remote. We've been fully remote for over 5 years now already, and I've been a digital nomad for a year and a half, maybe 2 years, something like that. And so the way I did it is that, yeah, I mean, it's my own startup, but it's because my job is technically fully remote. I actually haven't used that flexibility in a long time, and I only started traveling a year and a half, 2 years ago, right? And the other important part is that in order to make this work, I had to kind of give up on my apartment. So depending on how much money you make, how much your rent is, etc., you can still figure it out. But yeah, you gotta reduce expenses, right? You gotta reduce expenses. And usually the two major expenses people have is housing and cars. And so I'm 24. I don't even have a driver's license. So the car is not even a question, but the apartment, that's my main expense every month. And so I couldn't afford to pay rent twice. That just does not work. And so now, fourth topic, actually, sorry, making money preferably online. And so in order to be able to travel and to sustain that lifestyle, I think I made another video on this, actually, top 5 videos on the top 5 mistakes to avoid as digital nomad, something like this. You can check it out. But the main thing is that you need to be able to make money while you're traveling, and ideally in a sustainable way. Otherwise, those are just holidays. That's just a gap year that you took. You're not a digital nomad that can do this for long periods of time. And so you need to find ways that you can make money online. And in my mind, there's only really 4 ways. So either number one, you can get a remote job. So you have a normal job, whatever. You can ask your boss to go remote. And by the way, people always think like fun, not fun, but like exciting types of jobs in the sense of like creative designer, marketer, developer, whatever. But this works as well if you're an accountant, or many other things. And so it's just any type of job that you can do on your computer that you don't actually need to be in the office. And these days there's more and more. Technically, you could be remote. And so just literally ask your boss if you can go remote. Secondly, you can become a freelancer and sell your services online. And so there's many different things that you can do as a freelancer. Third, you can become an influencer, content creator, whatever, create content that makes money for you online no matter where you are. And number four, probably the most risky one, is that you can start your own business as well. And so that's, yeah, in my mind, those are kind of like the four only things. If you think of anything else, please let me know, because I definitely want to know, like that's I care about that. But then the fifth point is then about reducing your expenses. So once you have money coming in, if you have enough money that you can just do whatever, great, cool for you. But otherwise, you have to start reducing expenses, especially reducing non-vital expenses that you're not, things that you're not actually going to be using. So the two main ones, as I said, is rent, so accommodation, and then cars. And so if you're living, let's say in Switzerland or in Europe, whatever you are actually, the first thing, if you want to start traveling full time, is that you should probably give up your apartment. And so you're technically a homeless person now. Great, you're going to be living in hotels, Airbnbs, and all those different things. But that is what allows you actually to start traveling. And so this can be a big step for a lot of people. You do want to keep a lot of your things, give them to your parents, give them to your family, whatever. Rent a locker somewhere, like one of those, how do you call them? Yeah, lockers, pretty much, like pay 20, 50, 100 euros per month, put all your shit on there and reduce those expenses, and then throw away whatever you don't actually need. So you have to make sure that you're not paying for things you're not using. You don't have money to spare. That's the first lesson. And then the other thing as well is, of course, cars. So sell your car if you have one, all those car payments, all those different things, loans, whatever. You gotta try and get rid to as much of that as possible. And so if you reduce your expenses enough, maybe you don't need to make more money. If you make enough money, maybe you don't need to reduce your expenses. This is going to be different from one person to the other. But the main thing is that. And so if, at least for me, the main thing is flexibility, right? And so I want to be able to live in the south of Italy, in Mexico, in Thailand, in cheaper places sometimes. But there's also times I want to go to, I just spent like 3 months between Korea and Japan, right? Those are more expensive places. And so I have to make sure that I can actually afford to live here and live here comfortably, because I have to remember, you have to keep in mind that I actually have to get work done as well. And so I have to pay for this WeWork membership, for example. I have to be able to get a good internet. I have to, so I'm not just backpacking, I have to be able to actually live a comfortable lifestyle, comfortable enough that I can keep this going over long periods of time. Because if I do this for 3 months, I'm exhausted and all I want is to go back home, that's not sustainable. And so you just have to figure those out for yourself as well. And just let me think. Yeah. I mean, that I wanted to keep it under 5 minutes. I filled it that already, but that's the main thing. So I guess I'm done with the video. Let me know if you have any questions. By the way, just drop them in the comments, and I will happily record another video. This time, I will maybe make it a little bit. You noticed how I've kind of freestyled this whole thing, and maybe I'll try to speak a little bit slower. We'll see. Talk soon.